Are you the parent or a caregiver of a child who's around 3 to 3.5 years old? So they've just started preschool and they've just started using some sentences, but you're concerned a little bit about the grammaticality or the accuracy of some of the sentences that they are using. Well, you've come to the right place. Specifically, I'm going to talk about one milestone that has implications for all other grammar milestones in a child's language development. This is arguably one of the most important language milestones when it comes to grammar, and it is past tense verbs. Normally, past tense is so important that when I used to work in the schools as a speech and language pathologist, I used to check kindergartners and pre-kindergartners to see if they had any past tense to see whether I needed to further monitor their language development. Because past tense shows how much a child is paying attention to grammar rules, and therefore it shows how other grammaticality will develop as well. So how do you help your child with past tense verbs? Well, you've come to the right place. Hi, my name is Amini. I'm a speech and language pathologist with several years of experience working with children and their parents to maximize speech and language development. I have my own private practice, Smarter Speech, in the Bay Area, California, where I do the same. And my mission with this channel is to empower parents and caregivers, especially of children under the age of 5 years old, because this is when a child's language is developing so rapidly, and little tips and tweaks that you can do when you're talking to your child or playing with your child can really help boost speech and language, which in turn can boost overall learning development in the years to come. So without further ado, let's get started. How to help your child with past tense verbs. The first tip that I would have is to really make sure that you are emphasizing past tense verbs just in daily conversation with your child. So whenever you're talking and whenever you see a past tense verb, all you really have to do is slow down, emphasize the verb, maybe even repeat your sentence or the verb a few times. So before I demo how exactly to do this, I do want to go over the fact that there are two types of past tense verbs a child is going to start becoming familiar with around preschool. So the two types of past tense verbs are regular past tense verbs and irregular past tense verbs. Regular past tense verbs are called regular because they're made by adding on a D or an ED at the end of the word. So I talked, for example, is a regular past tense ED verb. I walked is another regular past tense ED verb. I played, again, you've got that ED at the end. Those are regular verbs. Irregular verbs, on the other hand, don't follow that pattern. And there's actually quite a few of them that we use often in the English language. So I saw is an irregular verb. I drove, I went, I heard, I woke up, I slept, etc. So those don't follow the pattern, but they are also used quite often. So your child should be becoming familiar with those as well. So the easiest way to do this is when you talk to your child and you catch a past tense verb, you can set the timer for 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe you can do this during walking around with your child or while waiting for the bus, whatever it is that you're doing, set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes. And as you're talking to your child, every time you hear a past tense verb, emphasize it. So for example, oh, we got ready so quickly today. I like how we got ready so quickly. So I repeated it a few times. I emphasized got. So your child right now will definitely pick up on it, even if they don't repeat it or say anything on it. Or, oh, we woke up so early. I like how we woke up early. So again, you just repeated it a few times and you emphasized it, but your child's brain right now is so plastic, they will definitely pick up on your repeat and your emphasis. Or, oh, I like how you cleaned your plate. You cleaned your plate so well. Again, notice how I emphasize that ED at the end, cleaned the plate so well. Your child will pick up on it the more you do this, especially if you do it day to day, week to week. Your child will start in conversation saying those EDs at the end, or maybe even using those irregular verbs correctly. That being said, if your child is still inaccurate quite a bit of the time, that is completely normal for a preschooler. So I hear a lot of, I waked up, we drived to school all the time. That is okay, but at least some of them should be correct. And your child should have the concept of past tense. So they shouldn't be saying things like, I wake up, for I woke up, or I play, for I played. So there should be at least some of them coming in. We call that emerging. So there should be some past tense emerging. You can also do the same pointing out with activities that you do with your child. So say that you are reading a book with your child. At the end of each page, or after a few pages, you can go ahead and say what happened on those pages. So for example, if you see this alligator here, you can say, she cooked cookies. So after you've read the whole thing, you've showed your child the picture, you can say, I like how she cooked cookies. She cooked nice cookies. I would normally just focus on one verb per page turn. That way you're more effective and your child picks up on the verb that you're modeling. Or, it looks like he really liked the cookies, right? Looks like he liked the cookies. So again, you would read the entire text. He loved to smell the cookies. He loved to look at cookies. He liked the cookies, right? Alfie liked the cookies. And then you would move and progress through the entire book in the same way. So the nice thing about this is you can use any book that your child likes after you finish reading the text. Even if the text is in present tense, you can recap what happened using a past tense verb. And especially if you're doing one book a week, which is normal, or one book at least a few times, by the end of the week, your child will be very familiar with the verbs that you modeled for them. So that's another way to do it with books. And then the last way that I would suggest is you can do this pointing out when you're playing with your child. So you can do it in structured activities, or you can do it in unstructured activities. So say, for example, you were playing pretend play, which is appropriate for a child who's in preschool. And after you're done playing with Blippi and his fire truck, you need to put it away. So you can talk about what you did with the fire truck. So maybe, I like how Blippi climbed the ladder. Blippi climbed the ladder, or he sat in the truck. He sat in the truck. Or you could even do it while you're playing. So, he sat in the truck. He's ready. And then maybe after you're done making him climb, we can say he climbed the ladder, climbed the ladder, etc. And of course, you can also do this with games that have more structure. So I talked in another video about how a child in preschool should be able to have fun doing turn-taking games with a little bit more structure. So for example, playing cards. So maybe playing something like Uno Junior. So you can talk about what happened in this as well while using past tense. So maybe I found a green. Oh, look, I found my green. Or I took a card from the pile, etc. So if you'd like, you can play this video back and write down some of the verbs that I emphasize. But once you get into the habit of emphasizing the verbs, you'll just start doing it without even thinking about it. You just have to do it intentionally for a few days. All right, so those are my 3 tips for helping with grammar, specifically for helping with past tense, because that's a very good foundation for other grammar skills that will come along. If you want to find out about more grammar skills that your preschoolers should be having or should be developing, I would definitely recommend checking out some of the resources in the description box below. There's a link to our free mailing list where you'll get a tip every month on preschool language development. There's also a link to our ebook, which goes over some more crucial milestones for preschool language development, including more grammar milestones. There's our preschool parent education course. And of course, there's links to some of the toys and materials that I used in this video. Like with all of the tips that I mentioned, if you continue to be concerned about your child's grammatical accuracy or about their ability to use sentences, particularly after some months of starting preschool have gone by, it's a great idea to mention your concerns to your preschool teacher, maybe get an evaluation with a speech therapist, talk to your doctor, whatever it is, please do reach out to a professional and get help sooner than later. All right, so I hope you enjoyed these tips. If you did, please subscribe so you can get more videos like this, and happy talking.